On November 3rd of 2000, a little over 23 years ago, I started a journey that was quite unbelievable. From the very first phone call on the 3rd to the 4th, there was things that just weren't adding up in any shape, form, or fashion. Marcus was in a terrible car accident, turned out to be a transitional one, and from the beginning of the journey, things didn't make sense. He was completely brain dead. However, all he needed to keep going for the most part was, I guess they call it artificial respiration. He had a trach and they were breathing for him. For a while, everything worked fine. The rest of his body parts worked fine, even though there was no uh, information from the brain. The brain scans were completely showed there was nothing there. And throughout the journey, there's been many marvelous things happen. And recently, there's a very tangible gift I got from him was the rose. On the rose, after his accident, we discovered in his locker the picture of it that he'd drawn on notebook paper. It was used at his funeral for the little program thing. And then later on, just I guess a year or so ago, a guy that I know that does some welding for me saw it pass through on a Facebook thing. I was just putting in an album on Facebook and was inspired to bring it to life. As you can see, it's absolutely beautiful work of art. That was something tangible that I can hold in my hand and say that my son did not die. He just changed forms, which was something along the way. Things would happen, and I would say, it's like Marcus never died. He just changed forms, and I need to figure out how to deal with it. Um, that didn't go over very well with family, friends, the relative preacher, anybody like that, because they had no idea how things work, and we don't. We've been told something else and believe something else that just doesn't serve us. The one that was really crazy was when this girl had an accident. She hit the same pole that Marcus did on the driver's door. As the car was spinning, he came to her and says, "Hey, Tara, don't worry. I'm going to get you out of this." She came to, laying in a ditch, and was perfectly healthy. There's been many, many things like that are fairly untangible, but after a while, the evidence piles up, and I'm beginning to realize, or I do realize more and more every day, that this whole thing of death is nothing like we thought it was. Very few people really understand it. And it's sad because there's been research and proof, scientific wise, for years and years. And I think it's time now to, coming up on the holiday season, it's time for everybody to relook that wants to relook at the whole thing and say, hey, this is a totally different program than what we've been told in the past, and it can be enjoyable, and there's scientific proof behind it. I've done a lot of research, and I'll be willing to share everything I found. It's very, very cool.